Hello, everyone, and welcome. We're excited to kick off today's session, which is part of a new initiative, Mesa Redonda, Company Spotlight con Prospanica. Prospanica's National is launching a series of company showcases to spotlight organizations that are committed to inclusion in the workplace and to highlight the opportunities and resources available for Hispanic professionals within those organizations. This month's spotlight is Equitable. This initiative provides a powerful platform for us to learn from and engage with leaders who are not only advancing in their careers, but also paving the way for others to do the same. Each month, we invite you to connect with top companies, learn about the career opportunities they offer for MBAs, and gain valuable insights into how they're shaping the future of diverse talent. Whether you're actively exploring new career paths or simply looking to expand your knowledge of the corporate world, these webinars provide a unique opportunity to engage directly with companies committed to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Thank you for being here, and we look forward to sharing this session full of inspiration, information, and opportunities that will help shape your next career move. I would like to introduce you to our incredible speakers, Monty Mendez, financial professional, Fidel Santiago, Equitable's Network Oversight and Supervision Unit Manager, Cristina Morales, Head of Group Retirement and Employee Benefits Marketing, Jessica Alfonso, Equitable's Financial Reporting and Accounting Policy Area Lead, and RJ Aglanda, Regional Vice President of Sales Distribution and Group Retirement. Today, they'll be sharing their expertise on how leading organizations are driving change and creating inclusive cultures that foster diverse talent. They'll provide practical insights on how Equitable is developing innovative strategies to support professionals from all backgrounds and offer career opportunities that promote growth, leadership, and success. Thank you so much for being here. Monty, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thanks everyone for joining us today. I know taking time out of your Tuesday evening or afternoon, whichever time zone we're in. So I'm excited for tonight and to share a bit more about Equitable and some of my colleagues here. I'm not sure how much you all know about Equitable, but you guys will get to learn more about us tonight. And so really the purpose for tonight's panel, we want to share a bit about who we are and our history. So here at Equitable, we have been committed to fostering a diverse and inclusive workspace that encourages the career and progression of underrepresented groups, including us, Hispanics and Latino professionals. And as part of today, our commitment in this partnership with Prospanica, we are here today for you all to gain tips and resources from some of our Equitable employees and hopefully feel inspired by the careers that we have here with a company that's been around over 160 years. To lead on with that, really a few insights that I hope you all can take away, and I'll break it down to 3 for you guys here. So 1, I'm hopeful that you can hear some successful strategies and practices that have helped current Equitable Hispanic and Latino employees achieve significant career milestones. And secondly, to foster a supportive network by connecting with us and everyone around us here today. And lastly, hope you guys can gain actionable advice and resources for both individuals and organizations as we continue to support these careers and progressions for the Hispanic and Latino professionals. And so for tonight's panelists, I want to introduce you a few of the individuals tonight. I don't know if we can switch that slide. I don't know. I can't see it on my end. Or is it visible to everyone? Nonetheless, can you see it?
I cannot see the slide now.
Okay.
Oh, there you go. All right.
Give us a minute here. I guess while that is being pulled up, I'll just introduce really quickly some of the panelists. As you've seen, we have Fidel Santiago, and he is our Equitable Network Oversight and Supervision Unit Manager. And so he's had a really impressive career here with Equitable, about over 8 years. His commence with professional journey actually started as an advisor, and his exceptional skills and dedication facilitated his achievement to become the operations manager for the Puerto Rico branch. And so Fidel currently excels in his role as the oversight and supervision unit, where his leadership and expertise continues to propel success and innovation. And secondly, we have our lovely Cristina Morales, and she is the head of group retirement and employee benefits marketing for Equitable. She's been leading many aspects in marketing strategies for our 401k, 403bs, 457 markets, and employee benefits. Christina has had many years of working in marketing experience across different brands, both on the client and the agency side. And she's been here, she spent 9 years at TIA in numerous roles with leading brand and experience, content marketing, segment marketing, and financial wellness that integrates with our retirement business. And overall, she has been developing strategies that link the brand and business goals with our customers' needs and behavior. And thirdly, we have our amazing Jessica Alfonso. She is a financial reporting and accounting policy area lead for Equitable. She's responsible for a number of aspects from external reporting, various technical accounting areas, and accounting for policy group, and plays in integral roles in the elevation of complex transactions. So prior to Equitable, Jessica was the director of Coopers in Charlotte and New Jersey and Puerto Rico. And in her tenure with Pricewater, she spent 2 years with the national office and focusing on the SEC compliance and capital transactions. And lastly, last but not least, we have our lovely RJ Anglada, and he is the Regional VP of Sales Distribution of Group Retirement. He has 18 years of experience in retirement planning industry and has been with Equitable over 3 years, sorry. RJ has his SIE Series 6, Series 63, 66, and 7, and also has his Chartered Retirement Plan Specialty licenses. And so he graduated out of the Illinois University with a BA in economics. And he currently lives in Park Ridge, Illinois with his wife and 2 kids, Rafa and AJ. And so wanted to share a bit about our panelists so you know who they are and their experience and the work that they have done over the years here at Equitable, to kind of give you a timeline of their story from before Equitable and currently. So for tonight's conversation that we're going to have with the panelists, we'll talk about various topics that may help give you guys some insight as far as Equitable and just challenges with the Hispanic and Latino professionals. So I'll open it up to begin with Christina and Fidel as far as a few questions we have for you guys. Christina, if you can share some of significant challenges that you faced in your career and strategies you employed to overcome it.
Sure. Thanks, Monty. Happy to be here. I've had a long career so far. And one of the things that I think a lot about that had the biggest impact on me is one of the first jobs I had out of business school. And a friend of mine and we were doing actually Hispanic marketing together and decided we just didn't want to play the corporate game, and that we were, in our 20s, and we were going to change the whole corporate culture of the company that we worked for. So while very lofty and naive, we learned very quickly that that's just not how we were going to see success and how we were going to make an impact. And it really wasn't just about who we were, but it was about the business that we were driving. And we just learned a lot about how do you understand the politics of a company that's different at every company? How do you play it, or in a genuine way, a way that feels good to you, and feels really true to who you are? And that's a possibility. It's something I didn't think was possible, but it's certainly something that's possible. And we were able to kind of turn things around a little bit about where we were in our careers at that time.
No, yeah, that's good to hear. I think everyone realizing as they come into corporate America is realizing the challenges that every different institution has, and how can you be genuine with your own self to continue to still be yourself and to grow in those aspects. So good to hear. And I'll add into that to our second question for you. Uh, I guess talk about personal qualities or skills that have been crucial for you in overcoming the career obstacles.
Yeah, I think agility is probably the most important. There's not going to be one path. It's not going to be direct. It's not going to be the same. Um, Things change all the time. The industries change, the business changes, the customers change. So you just need to be flexible and able to kind of see what's coming and anticipate the change and be open and willing to embrace it, and just be really curious about, okay, the change is coming. How can I really play the biggest part that I can to help support the company and this company growth?
No, yeah, and I'll say the same. I mean, as a financial professional, when we work with clients, we really don't know what the future holds, and trying to predict the future. It's that hard part of my job, and even here are some of the members at Equitable to help these clients. And the best we can do is just base it on some data that we have and talking them through those points. So you make a really good point there. And so I'll lead it over here to Fidel. I'll ask the same question, and I'll read over it again just in case. Fidel, can you share significant challenges that you faced in your career and the strategy you employed to overcome it?
Sure. So there's challenges every day, but one worthy mention, I'd say, I've been, like you said, I've been with Equitable for 8 years. I started as an advisor. This isn't my field. Never would have thought that this was something that I was going to be working in. But it's something that I'm really proud to say that it's mine, because nobody expected it, not even me. So for me, it's really good. And so I started with Equitable. I'm located in Puerto Rico, and on my first year, I think I onboarded on February or so, or maybe like summer. And on September came Hurricane Maria. So major wipeout, no internet, no power, no nothing. But as a DSF, you still have to meet certain requirements of production, to keep your contract. And even though we had some leeway, I was like, I was determined to get it going. So I usually like to simplify things. When things get really tough, I usually just go, okay, look at it objectively, no feelings. Like, how can I bulletproof it? And I just said, like, okay, what's the issue? Puerto Rico, there's no clients. I can't do anything at the moment. So what do? There's a niche. There's Latinos everywhere, Spanish-speaking reps that need, clients. And I found my niche in Florida. I had friends there. They suggested. Thank God I had great friends and family. And I moved. I literally ended up moving for almost a year to Florida, found a niche of people there. And I was able to, incredibly so, that was my best year as an FP. So, again, it's determination. Where is it going? How can I get it? What do I want, and how can I get to it?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think similar instance, I had no intentions of being here and being in the financial institution, and to hear that, like you said, there are Hispanic clients and reps that need the assistance. So of course that I think we can always find our path in here as well. And so similar question that I asked here, I guess, tell me some of the qualities and skills that were crucial to you in overcoming the obstacles.
I'll piggyback with Christina, what she said. I'll rephrase it a little bit. I'd say on my end, adaptability and passion. You have to evolve, or you're gonna stay behind. You have to roll with the punches. Not every setback takes you out of the race. They usually just refocus where you're supposed to actually go. And you really have to trust in what you're doing. Same with passion. You know, you have to believe in what you do, like what you do. And if there's no purpose, you become stale. So I usually lead with those two all the time. So it's a double-edged sword, I'd say. But those are, passion is my everyday go-to. I like what I do. What am I doing? How can I make a difference? How can I impact? And you know, when you see stuff flourish, that's when you say, I know I'm in the right path. I know what I'm doing and I enjoy it.
Yeah. I think as Hispanic and Latinos, independent of our careers, we're very passionate ourselves about anything personally or professionally. So I think that when we can tie it to our profession, it really ties everything together to kind of help us through those obstacles. So I would agree with you because I felt like I have shared the similar interests as much as you have. So thank you for that. And so I'll move over here to ask a couple questions for RJ and Jessica. We'll start with you, RJ. Tell us about the impact that mentorship has had on your career trajectory, and could you share some specific examples?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. First of all, it's an honor and privilege to be here with my fellow panelists. Um, I think mentorship is very important. I think it's important to model yourself after people that are doing the things that you want to do in life, right? So I think it's important to find people in your network, people that you can interact with, that can guide you to and through your career. Ideally, you want to find people that are maybe a little bit older than yourself. In my specific example, I have a friend of mine where we began together as colleagues working for the same company. And after a few years, my colleague moved on to another company and then got promoted to another position. And we stayed in close touch. And by watching his career and staying close to him, I was able to um, learn the process of how to move further throughout my own career, right? And those are skills that I picked up, things that I learned from him, that I wouldn't have been able to progress as far if I didn't have that friendship, if I didn't have that mentorship from that individual. So definitely an important aspect of my career.
Yeah, can definitely agree to that myself. I've acquired a number of mentors just to help me in my career, and I think wherever life takes you, it can play a significant role for you. And so I guess tell me a bit about how can professionals effectively identify and approach potential mentors?
Yeah. So the first thing I'll say is you want to find somebody who is ideally doing the things that you want to be doing, right? And then I think it's important to understand that everybody has a different personality and different people are going to be you're going to have different levels of compatibility. So you want to find somebody that is compatible with you, right? Even though you might find somebody who's in the position that you might want, your personalities might not gel well together, right? So ideally, you can find somebody that you're somewhat compatible with. You don't have to be 100% compatible, but at least 50-60%, right? Um, in addition, when you approach that mentor, you want to make it as easy as possible for the mentor. You don't want to create another job for the mentor, right? Or, show up and say, okay, tell me what to do, right? You want to be very pointed and kind of focused when you're asking this individual for their time. In addition to that, you want to be a little bit humble, right? Because, you're asking for somebody's help. And then just make sure that you're taking the time. Ideally, you want to schedule it out. Meet once a quarter, once a week, whatever the relationship allows for, to let that person guide you. And the last thing I'll share is you become the average of the 5 people that you hang out the most with. So show me your friends, I show you your future. If you have a mentor that's doing the things that you want to, and you can find other people that are also doing that, you will probably become that in life because you become the average of the 5 people you hang around with the most.
Yeah, I mean, that was powerful. I completely agree to that last note. You become the people that you hang yourself around with. And I think as no matter where life takes you, independent of a career, it still shows on a personal level of the person you become. And so to that effect about mentorship, I've always told other people, or actually someone told me, think about it like speed dating. You kind of have to figure out and find your partner that you like, because there are different levels of compatibility. And at the end of the day, if you're trying to get to point Z, then you have to figure out, how do I get from point A to Z, and who is going to get me there? Not necessarily the quickest, but most effectively, because that's where I think the compatibility comes to play. So thank you for that, RJ. We'll go over here to Jessica. I guess, can you talk a little bit about the impact of mentorship on you and within your career, and any examples that you'd like to share?
Sure. I'm happy to be here with my fellow panelists and all of you. So I think in different stages of your career, you're gonna have like different mentors, right? So one of the things, right, that when I look back is like, as I continue to progress in my career and change roles, like the needs of the mentor and like the person and the like coaching that like I will be seeking like changes, right? So don't think that you just need to identify one person and that's going to be the person for the rest of your life, right? Like a marriage. No, by no means, right? It's like Monty said, like speed dating, but like you're not going to commit for a long time. I think earlier in my career, I had like multiple mentors, but there was a point when I was like working with PwC that I was like, what's gonna happen next, right? Like I'm doing this role, like how can I continue to grow, right? And at that time, one of my mentors was like, you need to get out of your comfort zone and go and do something. And that's when I applied to go and do the national offices tour. And I was like, I'm not sure if I had to like move to a different place and change what I was like doing day to day and learn all new things. So at first it was scary, but like that independent opinion and like coaching, right, helped me realize like if I want to continue to grow, I need change. And like there could be changes in different aspects, and like he provided recommendations, but ultimately like, it was like my decision. So I think you definitely want a mentor that is objective and that's gonna push you outside of your comfort zone, right? Because and I think back to RJ, right? Like he needs to be compatible with you, but also you need to make sure that it's not someone that's gonna agree on everything that you say, that is gonna go and push you to the next level. So I think, and it's not only one mentor, it's like multiple mentors. Sometimes, right, when I want advice on a specific topic, I go to one person. One of my mentors, Versafis, I want to advise on another topic, then I reach out to a different mentor. So I mean, it's evolving, it changes, it's fluid, and I think it's important to preserve and like continue to build those relationships, because like some of the mentors earlier in my career, I still reach out to them, once in a while and keep in contact, because it's important to, open your network, and there might be a time that you might need something or they might need something, right? The other thing is like it's a two-way relationship, right? Like when you ask someone to be your mentor, right, you need to be able to give some in order to receive some, right? So it's like, how can I help the mentor, or how like can the mentor like use my skills, etc., to so that then like they can provide and provide me feedback and like their advice in different ways. So
No, yeah. I'll agree to the point that it's certainly a two-way relationship. You have to make it easy on them and yourself and not make it too complicated. So it's good to note that. And I'm gonna switch gears here to ask Fidel a question, specifically with leveraging the institutional support. And so, Fidel, can I ask, how have institutional supports such as like training programs and diversity initiatives contribute to your career advancement?
So I'd say I started when I was on a P, I didn't know about the ERG. When I became the BOM was when I first started hearing about ERGs. And I'm usually that kind of person that goes from 0 to 100. So from not knowing the ERG to becoming the co-chair, it really gave me the opportunity to deep dive into the company, into the resources that they have, what we can do in and out of the company. And again, it's a great way to learn, to network. Located in Puerto Rico, we don't have, let me see if I can find the correct wording, but I'd say, social and culture wise, we're very different. So that the ERG gave me a very nice opportunity to learn about how is it in the States. All the challenges of what we can do, how can I compare myself and my situation to versus what everybody else's reality is. And it was, and it still is, a great resource, pardon the redundancy. As far as trainings, thanks to the ERG as well, I think that they offered the McKinsey leadership program, and I took it. I was one of the chosen lucky ones that took it, and it was a very, very nice one. I learned something very early on this career, and it was an advice that gave me my district manager back then, because we used to have trainings every Monday, and sometimes the trainings, every Monday, every week, they become, the same. And I remember that there were times that I was like, why do I have to go to the same thing again when I can be on the street meeting new clients, doing other stuff? And I remember that he said, listen, you'll always take something out of it. Even if you know it, you'll always take something out of it. And I'm a very curious person by nature. And that actually really humbled me, because it's true. And then, ERGs and the McKinsey program as well. It doesn't matter how much you may think that you'll always take something out of it. So every opportunity that you have, every, whenever it's there, take it. You never know what can come out of it. And, the ERG has been amazing. If it wasn't for the ERGs, I really think I wouldn't be still working with Equitable. So it's been really, really, really cool.
No. And for those to understand ERG, it is employee retention groups. And so often different organizations have a similar type of support in those means. And the way they're structured is to help employees to be engaged with one another, talk about the various topics that maybe are challenges, strategies, and how to overcome it. But I think it's also a way to come together and get to know your colleagues, especially starting in a new career. You feel like the new kid at your high school where you don't know anyone. And I think that's a great way to get to know everyone outside of your team and department, to get to know other people, because then I think, Fidel, to what you said, it leads into knowing about other programs and other trainings that may be available to you. So definitely a resource I would consider when applying for careers and jobs, and to see what kind of support that they offer outside of your work that you need to have. So thank you, Fidel. Christina, I would like to ask a bit about career development and the growth that you've had. So tell me, what are some strategies that you recommend for continuous learning and development in one's career?
Yeah, it ties a lot to what we're talking about in terms of mentorships, and how I think about, I had a really great mentor who asked me kind of what my long-term vision was for my career. And then we went through and we put together a list of all the skills that I needed in order to get to that goal. So for me, it was chief marketing officer. That was my long-term career goal. So we put together the list of all the things that I need to know how to do and understand, and jobs that I need to have. And then we went through and I rated myself on my skill set. in each of those things. And then she went through and said, some of these you can hire for, some of these you actually need to do yourself. And then we built a plan on how I was going to fill the gaps in those skills. And I think that was probably the most powerful mentor assignment I've had before, because it really gave me a straightforward path on what I needed to do next and put some structure around, a career isn't always moving up at the same speed that you want to, or there are lateral moves and there's chances that you take in your career. And it was a good structure to kind of put that into place. And it really helped me broaden, think about other industries, think about trends that are happening and how I can apply all of that to my current career.
No, that's a very actually good idea. I've never thought about that because even I think myself, I could apply it to me in wanting to know like this is where I want to end up in and list the skills and rate yourself. It really gives you some self-reflection to grow yourself essentially into the person that you want to become. So
Yep.
I appreciate that. I'll turn it over to Jessica to ask a question here. Jessica, how would you balance taking risks with maintaining stability with your career growth?
I think it depends really on where in your career you are at, right? And like what's your risk tolerance? Like, I mean, similar like when we go and look at a client portfolio, right? In terms of one, acknowledging that in order for growth to happen, change needs to happen, right? Like we cannot be doing the same thing over and over. You need to get uncomfortable. So I think throughout my career, right, depending personally also where I have been, right, there are times that I'm like, I think I can take a risk, right? Like I can switch jobs, I can switch roles, I can acquire more responsibility, right? Because sometimes it's not necessarily like switching job or like adding responsibility. So I think it's being open to doing things differently and being curious about, right? Like I used to do a lot of like banking clients in the past and I switched to an insurance company. And that was like challenging. I was like, what about if it doesn't work out? I was like, well, I'll go back, right? Like someone will want to like hire me. But I was like, I'm sure and I'm confident that I can learn and I can like quickly adapt, right? Like that agility. So and it was a good point in my career. So I will say, right, it depends on where you are with your career and where are you with your personal life. Because and I coach a lot of my managers on this. Sometimes it's just like fine just to be still for a year or two, like if you need that time, right? Like, and you might be dealing with like a family matter, etc., and that is okay, right? I think it needs to be something that you're ready for change and you're gonna be happy for that change, right? And it's gonna fulfill your expectations.
No, yeah, I completely agree with your first part of saying you need to get uncomfortable. And, I myself, when I speak with, clients and individuals, oftentimes talking about finances isn't the most appealing topic to talk about. But if we're really going to get to growth and get to financial stability, we have to talk about the uncomfortable parts in our life, whether from a financial standpoint, it could be debt or I'm not saving enough and taking those risks of how can I make those changes. So no, I completely agree with you. And I'll ask the same question that I asked Christina. I guess tell me about the strategies that you would recommend for continuing learning and how it's helped your development in your career.
Yeah, I mean, I think similar to how Christina was describing in terms of like where do you want to be, right? Like um so I think it's going and like looking at yourself and where do you want to be 5 years out, 10 years out, and what's gonna take. And what I have learned is like most of the time it's not linear, right? Like it's not like I need to do these 5 things, right? It's well, I might just do these 2 things, but I might just like go and do something different, like meaning I do accounting, right? So I might just go to the business and need to go and sell just to learn that aspect, right? So it's it's about like trying to have a path undefined, but being flexible on changing what are those requirements. And I mean, let's be realistic. Sometimes, like most of us, right, like plan where 5, 10 years out you want to be, but it might be in a totally different place than what you ambition. And it might be better, or it might be worse, or it might be just the same, right? But I think it's important to have that flexibility of, you're working towards something, because it's important to have goals and understand like what are the areas that you need to learn and acquire more of a skill set, right? But at the same time, like recognizing, like, 2 years in, like, oh, that might not be what I want, and I want to shift gears and do this other role that might be better and make me, fulfill my career and find more of my passion, right? And it's like interesting. The other day I was like, here, like listening to this audiobook about this lawyer that, like she wanted to be a partner in a big firm, big law firm. And she got there, and once she got there, it was like, well, this is what I wanted like forever. And now that I'm here, I'm not happy. I don't have time for myself. I don't have time even like to spend time with my family, or like coaching, etc. So I mean, it required a lot of back and forward with like where she wanted to be, but also things that personally and like make her happy and fulfill, and levels of stress and everything. So I mean, I will say that's kind of like the main thing for me, like, where I want to be 5 years from now. I know, right? But where I was 5 years ago and where I'm today, probably not what I was like thinking, right? So be flexible uh to adapt and change, and not like career paths are not linear, right? Like, just have that in mind, because I think when we're little, they're like, oh, you want to keep growing and growing, but it's sometimes you need to move laterally in order to grow, and that's fine.
No, yeah. You make a good point, because if you think about it in the sense of, oftentimes I hear people have career changes, like they go from a doctor to being completely opposite of like a teacher, or something that has nothing correlating there, which granted there's maybe some aspects and skills, but in the same light, I think that when we're and I think this could be more relatable to the people here today, the fact that, through college, we decide, hey, I want to go into marketing, and marketing is going to be my thing. And then you get out of it, and then you switch completely different gears and do something with medical. And if you put it in those aspects into adulting, it's kind of plays out the same. And I think, to what you guys are saying, just be adaptable into learning the new challenge that you're going to face. So it's good to hear from you from that aspect. And I'll go over here to RJ. Want to ask, what is a key piece of advice that you would offer someone at the beginning of their career journey?
Yeah, I'd say one of the most important things you can do with your career is, in my opinion, be a student of your career, be a student of your profession. I feel too many people after work, like they're done. They go home, they watch Dancing with the Stars or something, right? That's critical time that you could be investing in yourself, that you could be learning things. I'm in sales, right? It's very easy to go on YouTube and watch some YouTube videos on, building your sales skills. You can read books, you can talk to other people, right? But there's so many resources today and so many ways to learn about your profession, what you do, your industry, what other people are doing. And just being a student of your profession can really help catapult your career and move you forward through life. So that would be my suggestion.
No, yeah, I completely agree. I think nowadays this generation has what's called YouTube University, where you could really just learn any new skill or concept through YouTube or any other videos. And we hear this a lot, like, you have your 9 to 5, but what are you doing from your 5 to 9 to build on yourself, to build on outside of this like the cycle that you continuously have, because then I think that's in your 5 to 9 is where you find your purpose and who you are as a person that can help evolve you professionally and personally. So I like that. I'll ask Fidel here, how can professionals remain resilient and motivated when they're faced with setbacks?
So setbacks, in the last year we've had a few, everybody. But I'd say I'd go back to one of the previous questions, and I'd say adapt and grow. Again, every pushback doesn't take you out of the race. It refocuses you. When you, like Jessica also said, if you want something to happen, it may happen, just not how you thought it would or when. So don't give up. The main advice that I could give when these things happen, because they will happen. You know, you will have bad days, you will have setbacks, you will have no's. It's a no. We have a lot of no's all the time. So you just have to remain consistent. Consistency is the key, and that's what really makes a difference. If it's a no, okay, let me refocus, let me regroup myself. What do I want to achieve? I already got a no, but doesn't really mean like, okay, this path is a no, but then this path is a yes. The goal still remains the same. So be consistent, be loyal to yourself, to your beliefs, to your values, and again, to your goals. And it will eventually get there by nature. You will definitely achieve what you're trying to get if you're consistent.
I like that a lot. No, I think consistency, I always say it, whatever work you do is gonna pay forward, even if you don't see it now, you just have to have that consistent mindset. So I really like those words. Thank you for that. Christina, I want to ask this last final question, and this will be for everyone, but I'll start with Christina. What are some parting words that you would like to leave everyone with regarding their career progression?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's helpful to know where you want to go, but be flexible to change. You might find things along the way that you're interested in that you never thought you would be, like you were talking about earlier, Monty, and like, just be open, take chances. Lateral moves are okay as long as you're learning, growing, and it's going to pay off dividends in the long term.
And in the same way, RJ, any last words that you would like to leave everyone with?
Yeah, if you're starting out in your career or just trying to grow, it's very helpful to learn about emotional intelligence and also people's personality types. A lot of times, progressing through your career has little to do with your actual performance in your role, and it has more to do with um, some of the emotional aspects that aren't really focused on. So understanding people will allow you to communicate better with other human beings, which can help you progress throughout your career. And then the other thing I'd say is uh, don't be afraid to leave where you work. Sometimes, unfortunately, there might not be an opportunity for you to grow where you're at, and you might have to leave to find the place where you can grow further, and then maybe you can come back later. That's just how it works sometimes. So, um, those are my parting pieces of wisdom.
No, I like it. And to add to your point, as a financial advisor, when I work with clients, you talked about emotional intelligence. And for most clients, talking about finances, the decision that they're going to make, it's an emotional decision for them at the end of the day. So learning how to interact with them is like very key, not only for yourself, but I think also for the trajectory of your career. So thank you for that. Looks like we have a question. And I guess I'll maybe just answer here in a few minutes, but Jessica, tell me a bit about what are some parting words you would like to leave everyone with regarding their career progression.
Yeah. So I will say be curious, right? Like I think that's what really differentiates, right? Like someone that is interested in their career, ask the why and don't be afraid of change, right? Like if you keep doing the same thing over and over, change is not gonna happen. So in order to move forward, change will need to happen.
Yeah. Insanity, the definition of doing the same thing
Yeah.
over and over with no change. Insanity, just will go crazy one way or another. No, thank you for that. And last but not least, Mr. Fidel, I guess, what are some parting words you'd like to leave everyone here tonight?
So I echoes everybody's, words, the great panelists. I'd say aim high, aim very, very high, and you'll get there. You'll get somewhere, whatever it is. Like everybody has said, just be open to change, be open to challenges. Don't take it personal. That's something that I also had to learn the hard way. Because when you're passionate and you care, you do tend to sometimes when you get a no, it's like, oh, they're saying no to me. And no, it's no to you. It's not a no to, I'm sorry, it's not a no to you. It's a no to, okay, it's not gonna happen now or not this way. So again, find a way, adapt and evolve, but just aim high. I'm a firm believer of just aiming high, and because that fuels you, that motivates you to become better every day. And you're not, if you're always growing, you're never still.
Yeah, I agree. I think as Hispanics and Latinos, we're very passionate, as we said earlier, and I think sometimes that can get in the way of hearing criticism or hearing the no's. But I think sometimes we need to hear that in order to get to the next step. So I completely agree with you here. And so I guess I'll get this question here. Whoever would like to answer first. What's the best way to ask for feedback and act on it effectively?
So I can give my 2 cents. So step one is exactly what Fidel just mentioned, which is learn how to not take things personally, right? Especially when it comes to business. If as a salesperson I get told no all the time, and if I took those no's personally, I'd be an emotional wreck. But it has not. You have to be able to separate your professional self from your personal self, right? And one one phrase I heard that I really like is the workplace is not the place to have your emotional needs met, right? So we're here to conduct business, right? That's what we're focused on, right? And once you have that mindset, right, then if you're asking your mentor or somebody for feedback on your performance or how you can improve or how you can get better, um, that take that advice and listen to them and implement it, right? It's the same as if an athlete, is playing basketball and it's like, hey, how do I shoot the ball better so that I can increase my free throw percentage, right? Or how do I swing this bat or this club better so that I can make better contact, right? It's all just there to make you better. And if you don't take it personally and you kind of treat it that way, makes it really easy to improve yourself and improve your skills. So that's my suggestion.
I'd like to add too, I think asking for feedback at all levels is not just about managing up, but it's managing your peers, it's managing people who may report to you or who are lower levels than you. Everybody's opinion matters. And knowing how you show up with all of those three different groups is really, really important. And some way for you to kind of build that path forward.
Yeah, no. And maybe we can take a bit of what Christina said earlier, where they mentioned like these skills to write down if I'm trying to get here, to maybe answer your question of how do I act on it effectively, maybe go into the mindset of like, I'm either going to get this response or this response. And oftentimes we fear the negative response. So think about what skills do you need to act on that if you were given that negative response, because then I think it'll help you reflect a lot better with the progression of the feedback that you're getting in order to progress yourself independently. Well, that was really all the questions we had for tonight, unless anyone else had any questions for us today. We wanted to do a live Q&A so that you guys can feel comfortable to ask us questions and throw it in the chat or don't know if they can unmute themselves, but one of the other. If not, I can have a few closing remarks as well, but would love to open it up to all of you guys. This is your time to share a bit about yourself as well. I guess in the meantime, if people are typing questions or they're being put into the chat, I'll do a few other questions maybe that can help us round out tonight. Couple of questions, and whoever wants to answer first. I would like to ask approaches to making to decision making during challenging times in your career, and have you taken that into effect?
So approaching decision making.
Yeah, approach decision making. Yeah.
So I think like how it started on the questions. I usually when things tend to get real stressful, which everybody has some stress, it doesn't matter on which level you may be, just take the feelings out of it. You ultimately try to make it objective. What's going on? What's the issue? What needs to be solved? Not what's going on, or whose fault is it, or no. So I usually, again, I make it bullets and I just say, okay, this is what's the issue? Brief summary. What needs to be done? Brief summary. What will the result be? And then a brief summary. And that's how I usually try to go at them, especially now my role, again, I'm the oversight and supervision manager. So I'm the one saying no's to a lot of the sales. But usually it's not always a no point blank. It's, hey, this is a no because X and X, and we may need this. So I try to give you the solution as well, or try to coach you as, hey, this is how it would need to be done to be in compliance.
Yeah, no, I think that's good. And I think it's good that you're doing that, kind of helping them out through the solution side of it and helping them through it. But I also would like to ask from a female's perspective, and I ask this because I think us women and men, we make decisions very differently. You could say women are more of the emotional side to it, and men just bring more of the decision making side to where it's one way or the other. So if Jessica or Christina, how would you approach decision making during challenging times in your career?
I will say, right, I try, because again, I think to your point, I might be a little bit more emotional, not to make decisions right away. Like if I am having doubts or I'm upset, I'm like, I'm gonna slip on it for one day, a few days, and then go pros and cons, right? Like in terms of what do I have more? And usually, like, if and again, I'm the type of person, I'm probably not a great risk taker that likes to evaluate the 100 scenarios before like choosing a path. So I think once I'm comfortable ultimately with my analysis and the fact that there's more pros on a specific decision, or it feels the right decision at that point in time, like I move forward, right? And hey, what's the worst that could happen? Like, I mean, there's not such a thing as a bad decision, right? I think we learn from mistakes and then we can fix it. But I will say, from my perspective, if I don't try, I try not to immediately react and take the time to do a very thorough assessment of pros and cons. But that's like me personality wise also, right? Like I like to evaluate things at 100 different points of view.
I am the exact same way. And so, I mentioned as a financial advisor, I work directly with a lot of my colleagues directly are males. And so one thing that I've learned, just having, I guess, accessibility to them all the time, in the same way I do a pros and cons list, but then I was like, you know what, let me get a man's perspective and I want to see what they think, because often I've learned that I can learn a few tips from them into making this challenging decision that I need to. And it kind of helps from a self-reflecting standpoint, one, but then also hearing about other people's ideas of what they would think, because, whether it's just your decision independently or not, I think I'm such a team player that I would want to know, like, hey, what does everybody else think? Like, am I going crazy, or, you know, what's our pro con list here? So no, I agree with you 100%. And so I'll wrap it up here today. I want to thank all of our panelists for taking the time out of their Tuesday to be here with us and share a bit about themselves and their careers here at Equitable, and previously from their path here at Equitable. So I hope you guys took a lot out of today, and feel free to scan the QR codes to connect with us and learn more about different careers within Equitable and connect with one another if you have questions after today. We're always happy to connect with people, 5-10 minutes, whatever it may look like for you. So I hope you guys took something great out of this tonight. Thank you. Let's see.